How do you handle a heckler?
Not well. I get angry fast. Then all the build-up rage just goes out. I'm working on that. I have no problem talking to a heckler and that kind of stuff. I'm not like some big crowd work guy or anything like that. But the thing that I tried to work on before the pandemic was not getting upset and getting angry. Because like sometimes like when the mics are like, you'd be I feel like the times when I get heckled is at an open mic when you're trying to work on a joke and it's not going well and someone's like, oh, this sucks. It's like, yeah, it's going to suck. It's an open mic.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, then you just get filled up with rage. When in all honesty, the guy's just, or the guy or girl's just voicing the opinion of the room at that moment. So it's trying not to take it as a personal affront and not trying not to take yourself too seriously and get too frustrated, and just again from the Gary Shandling book that I'm reading right now, it's like, don't address that person and go nuts on them. Just talk to the room with that information.
Okay.
So, and like, just remember you're having fun. Like you get to do this. So it's like, have that mentality while you before going off on this person.
Yeah. Okay.
Every instance is so different. I mean, I've been heckled in front of 10 people. I've been heckled in front of 3,000. So everything calls for its own unique situation. And sometimes it's best, instead of going for the attack, because you don't want to look like an asshole, if you jump the gun, the crowd's going to turn on you. So normally if somebody disrupts the show or heckles me, I try pause for a second, stare in their direction, and ask them to repeat what they said, or being like, so what's your deal? Or what are you drinking tonight? I kind of want to diffuse the situation by asking a couple basic questions so I can kind of figure out what's happening as well.
Okay.
Like if I say, what are you drinking? They're like, Jaeger. I'm like, all right, well, that explains it. Or what's your deal? What's your deal?
Okay.
So sometimes just by addressing it, you can get a joke out of it, and then you can also figure out what the fuck is happening to navigate it from there.
If the heckler gets more hostile,
but that's so rare. It's so rare.
Okay. I guess yeah, you're right. A lot of times, with hecklers, in my experience, is the hostile ones are very far and few between. It's the people that are it's comedy night, and they just want to have a good time, and everything is funny, whether it's happening on stage or happening at their table. They don't mean any harm by it. But they don't stop. I mean, the big key word is we're here for girls. Every time I hear girls' night, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So how do you handle a situation where the crowd they don't mean harm, but they're just being annoying and they're ruining the show? What would you say what would be your style?
That happened this past weekend. And I typically and I shut the fuck up does the trick. In that case, a lot of people are drunk and they think they're helping, but they're not. Yeah. And when you tell them that, they don't comprehend it,
Okay.
So hopefully you're working in a spot that has security or people who would get this person out. You know what I mean? But it's so rare. Heckling is very rare, but drunk, disruptive crowds are out there all the time. Yeah. And you learn how to navigate it and accept it. And then this past Saturday, they were drunk and chatty and a little rowdy, but it was actually kind of fun, and I had fun with them.
Okay.
So even though it wasn't ideal and I got disrupted and sidetracked a handful of times, I still managed to have fun with it.
Okay. Good, man.
Yeah, first of all, I'm not afraid to lose the room because I know I can get the room back if I lost it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
When you already thinking yo, if I do this, when you walk into it with fear, you're gonna fuck up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I'm comfortable enough to shut somebody. I remember I hosted for Michael Rappaport, right? I hosted for Michael Rappaport, right? And he said to me, he was like, yo, man, you gotta before the show started, he was like, yo, you have to tell the audience, you know what I'm saying, this it's not the normal comedy show. He's like, give me all these tips and things. And because he's not like a traditional stand-up, so people are like kind of rambunctious when he's on stage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So sure, as soon as I go up there, I start talking. There's like people already like anxious and they're getting excited and like they're doing too much. They're doing too much talking. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta talk to them. Listen, I'm talking to you. This is what you're not gonna do. You're gonna shut this up, and I'm gonna say something funny where everybody's gonna laugh. You know what I'm saying? Like, now, luckily, everybody did laugh, and they shut up. Now they feel like an asshole, you know. But when if you go into it and you're kind of like timid with them, like, hey, can you please be quiet? Like, that's not funny. Like, everything I want to say on stage, I want it to be funny.
Yeah.
You know? So
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, thanks for walking me through that.
It's funny. So kind of like what we talked. I mentioned the whole thing of. I realize you don't have to win. Like, you don't have to beat a heckler. You don't, because, you know, we've all seen those where, like, the comic says the perfect thing and they're sitting in their cloak of shame. And, you know, it's like a real win for the, and, like, you know, but I've never been able to do that. I'm, you know, I'm a nervous person, you know, organically. And the one line that I learned, it took me a while, but the one thing that worked for me is to shut it down, but do it in a way that is non-threatening. Okay. And whatever. And so a heckler, like, you know, you figure out if you acknowledge it or not. Is it I'm usually thinking like, okay, is this going to resolve itself? Yeah. Is this going to continue to be a problem? Yeah. You know, do I hate this person? Is this person harmless and just doesn't know any better? You know, what are the, like, you're kind of run the numbers a little bit. And I found like I always have had good luck with acknowledging something and also being nice. I have had a scenario where I got mad and the crowd was not with me, and that felt bad. And it didn't really lift again, you know, and that I remembered that. And I also learned if the whole room can't hear what the one person said, and then you tell them in a microphone to go fuck themselves, you kind of look like the bad guy, you know? So there's like different things. But I would always just to cut it off at the knees, end it, and say, like, okay, back to me, you know? And that would always get a laugh, and just like just letting them know, like, we're done, you know? And that's my only skill set, and it's very small, and it seems to work. Okay.
I just assume I hope I'm smarter than them, and then, I mean,
do you roast them? Do you roast a heckler?
I mean, I've never. I have to say something back, obviously, but I never. Like, there's some people that can just completely detour from their set, and like just fuck with the guy for like 10 minutes. I try to say like 2 or 3 things and then like revert back to my set. So I don't have like that much confidence to go off script that far.
Okay. All right.
But yeah.
Okay. How do you handle a heckler?
That's changed. And honestly, I think the deeper now, also because I'm sober, I get super frustrated by drunk people. So I try to I did a thing when I was drunk back in the day and on stage and young, I would flip out real early on within seconds. And then, you know, now I try to give them, you know, that whole technique of, you know, make them obvious that they're an asshole too. So where the whole crowd's aware that they're a problem. And, you know, so I give it some more time, but I also assess. It depends on what level, you know, if someone's like screaming at you or throwing something, or if they're just saying incoherent stuff. So it's like a case by case basis. But my problem with like hecklers is like, I don't want to make it a whole event with them because it's like, and crowd working is that it never really gets anywhere interesting. It's just, you find 500 different ways to tell someone to shut the fuck up. Yeah. Or this or that, and nothing creative's happening. Rarely. There's been a couple times where I've talked to a drunk person in the crowd and it went some weird direction. The crowd laughed. It made the person shut up, and I was like amused by it. It's happened a couple times. Very rare. Usually it's just like, shut the fuck, you know, it's a whole shut the fuck. Yeah. is necessary. So I dread it. I'll do it if I have to, but it's a case. Someone's just like drunk. They don't even know they're talking. Some people hate you and are ready to fight. So I don't have a strategy. It's just like, what is wrong with this person?
Yeah.
Why is this happening? Then I'm a little more, try to be a little more patient.
Yeah.
But, if they're really coming at me, then, I get angry.
That's fine. Hey, as you should.
I can say that I'm lucky I don't get heckled a lot. And that's mostly because I don't invite the audience to speak. I don't ask many open-ended questions. I pretty much don't do crowd work. So I don't get heckled often. But like I said, my brain moves fast. So my instinct is to always to try to disarm them with funny kindness. I'll most often say, you're like my auntie, or you're like my uncle. Like, you also don't support my dreams. I'll try to whatever. But then sometimes I've been heavy-handed and told a person, like, right now, I'm a firefighter and you're starting more fires. Do you understand that I'm at work and that you are making my work hard? I hate when a heckler forces me to break that wall. I hate it because I know that it's just literally seconds away from me joking. It takes away from more time that I have to tell a joke.
I usually ignore them.
Well, they don't stop though.
Some people, it depends. Like, if you're that disruptive that it's a problem, you're also bothering the audience. You're probably also bothering the staff, the people running the room. So I just kind of like, if you're that much of a problem, they'll throw you out.
Okay.
But some people are like, I see like some comics, they like freak out if anyone makes like a noise. And I'm just like, you just ignore it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Most people are just not really causing that much of a problem.
It depends. Like, a lot of times people, like, it's rare that people are actually like, you suck. It's usually people are drunk or they think they're helping or something else. They're like, I'll try to ignore it if I can. And then if I need to engage, I'll just sort of like, I try to come from like some sort of place of like actual curiosity of like, why are you saying that? Like, do you have a reason for it? Do you not know how drunk you are? Or do you not know if this makes sense? Or if you have a good point, what is it? Because like why are you, and do you think it's the right setting for you to share it with the room? I'm just very curious about like, who are you and why do you think this is okay to do? And like, what's your point that you're trying to make? And a lot of times if you can do that and reflect it, like it'll wind up getting a laugh on its own, or like diffusing the situation in a way that's like, because sometimes the challenge for me is like, I can get like, I don't want to, you can shut down a heckler, but then you can seem so like mean or nasty that you lose the rest of the crowd. And so it's just sort of like, I want to like, stop it from happening, but in a way that's playful and still, keeps you, on the likable side for the audience.